How's it going, everyone? In this video, I want to go over some very exciting rumors that are floating right now. Take it with a grain of salt at this point, but Infamous is rumored to be making a comeback and potentially seeing a new reveal come at the PlayStation Showcase event in just a few days. If we get a new Infamous game, that probably will be on the PlayStation 5, but unfortunately PlayStation 5 stock shortages could last until 2023, given the semiconductor shortage. That's the real issue here. And some pretty cool news on Tales of Arise. The PlayStation 5 Game Compression is leading that game to be shafted in terms of its file size. It's going from 57 gigabytes to 37 gigabytes. Super exciting there. We'll talk that at the end of this video. But first of all, Infamous series might be returning. This rumor has really caught fire over the last few days, and really starting on the 5th, Nick from the Xbox Era podcast noted, okay, please take this one with a grain of salt because it's one of the things I couldn't get confirmed, but because I like the series, I'm hoping it's true, but there's a chance we could see Infamous make a return at Sony's Showcase, fingers crossed. Now, obviously, gotta take that with a grain of salt, but also the Gaming Updates and Countdowns Twitter page noted this: Infamous project rumored getting announced it at the upcoming PlayStation Showcase. Infamous the game domain has been updated by Sucker Punch and are something for a PlayStation 5 game potentially coming. So this would be done by Sucker Punch by the looks of it, and I don't know how that would really turn out. I mean, I get that there's a bunch of studios that Sony has that are working on multiple titles. Guerrilla Games is rumored to be doing multiple games. Obviously, Insomniac has been doing multiple games, but Insomniac is an enormous studio. I'm not entirely sure of how big Sucker Punch is, but Ghost of Tsushima was a colossal undertaking, and that game was in development for, I believe, 6 or 7 years, I think closer to 7 years, and then they just put out the Iki Island expansion. They've been incredibly busy, so how they would have time to do an Infamous game on top of that, I don't really see how that's possible. However, if it's something like they got another studio to help them and they're also overseeing the project, that's something I could see. Or maybe they have just really been working hard over these last few years and they are getting both Ghost of Tsushima and Infamous done. That just seems a little wild to me, given that's two gargantuan open world games. And I don't know how that would really be possible. Maybe it's just an Infamous collection, because I think just to see Infamous 1, 2, and Festival of Blood easily accessible on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, hey, I'd be excited for that as well. Or I would even like a Infamous 1 remake, because that game has shown its age quite a bit, and hey, we're remaking games from 2009 now. Demon's Souls just got a remake. Why can't Infamous 1 get a remake? Kind of wild to think it's been 12 years, over 12 years since Infamous 1 came out, but I would love a remake to Infamous 1 just because that game was great in 09, but as far as open world games go, it definitely shows its age. So that'd be kind of cool as well. Infamous 2 ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. That was the game featuring Cole McGrath, of course, and then Infamous Second Son, you can definitely do more with Delsin, but it'll be interesting to see how you can, you know, shape the series going into the future. The story, I don't know how much they would want to lean on Infamous 1 and 2, given that those games are a bit older, and there are a bunch of people that haven't played either of those games. Infamous 2 came out back in 2011, and given that it's not easily accessible at this stage of the game, I believe it's on PS Now, but you guys get the deal. You know, it'll be interesting to see if it does happen, where they would take the franchise, but hey, I've been talking about it for a long time. Infamous is a franchise that I absolutely want to see come back, and I think there's a lot of potential and more content out of that series, and I get that Sony likes to do this, where they do like to have franchises go dormant for a while, but, you know, there has to be something to be said about consistent releases as well. God of War never really took a break, and it's been relatively consistent all the way through, outside of, like, God of War Ascension, but yeah, Infamous could definitely be the same, and I think there's a lot of potential in the franchise, depending on what they want to do with it. But we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully we do see an announcement come September the 9th. Okay, moving on from that, PlayStation 5 stock shortages could last until 2023. Now, this is going with the semiconductor storage, and it was noted the supply of chips will remain very tight until at least September next year. That was said by Takeshi Kamabuchi, a director at Toshiba's semiconductor business. In some cases, we may find some customers not being fully served until 2023. Toshiba does plan to invest $60 billion, about $545 million, into supporting the production of semiconductors over the next 3 years, but that is going to be something that's going to be very, very interesting to monitor. I know a lot of people are having real hard times getting a PS5. Guys, the best way to do it, if you don't want to get the GameStop bundles, which is honestly, they're pretty decent. That's what a lot of my buddies have been picking up. You know, those bundles do come with a lot of superfluous things that you probably don't want, like PS Plus 12-month membership, and that's valued at full price, and who the hell is paying full price for PlayStation Plus except for me when I forget to turn my auto renewal off, but you guys get the deal. And then the most recent slate of bundles had like Madden 22 in it, and by the way, one of my buddies got the Madden 22 bundle, and they gave him 2 copies of Madden 22. He got to keep the second one for free, so not a big deal, but yeah, just goes to show what's going on over there. Alternatively, there's a lot of accounts on Twitter, the PlayStation 5 restock bot accounts. Those accounts are actually relatively effective from what I've seen and heard, so that might be an idea. And then also, I'll keep going back to it, but having social connections, just knowing somebody that's like a manager at a store or something like that, that seems to be the easiest way that I've seen potentially for people to get it. One of my buddies is a teacher at a high school, and one of the kids' parents hooked him up with a PlayStation 5, and he paid retail on it. Now, that's going to be a very, very rare circumstance where, you know, the stores are going to align for you to get one that way, but that is something to consider as well. Just talk to people. Maybe somebody can hook it up. But nevertheless, hopefully things do ease up by 2022, because 2022 looks like a banger year for PS5 games. I mean, God of War, Gran Turismo, Final Fantasy 16, and then you're talking about, there's Horizon. Yeah, of course, I'm forgetting Horizon. Well, obviously, Horizon and God of War are going to be cross-gen games, but boy, oh boy, do I not have a good feeling about those PlayStation 4 versions of those games, just because I played God of War on the OG PS4, and, I mean, it was playable, of course, but, like, I'm ready to move past that, and I think a lot of people are, given if PlayStation 5s are just readily available. Lastly, I do just want to give you guys a heads up that PlayStation 5 Game Compression has dropped Tales of Arise from 57GB to 37GB. Of course, this has been a regular thing for PlayStation 5 games. Some of these cross-gen games are significantly smaller on PS5 versus PS4 with the compression, and this is one said case. The PS5 version at 37GB, while the PS4 version's at 57GB. Now, the caveat is, PS5, we need that storage space pretty badly, given that we're at 600GB and change with the console storage space right out the box, so that's getting filled up pretty quickly. I had to delete some games, unfortunately, that, you know, I ideally did not want to delete recently, but you gotta do what you gotta do to make room for other games, and I would like to have everything installed. If we can't get readily accessible storage expansions, which I know we can get now, but they're pretty pricey, having smaller games is definitely an effective way to increase the longevity of said SSD. But that's gonna do it for me. Let me know your thoughts on Infamous potentially returning. PlayStation 5 stock shortages might be continuing for a while, and Tales of Arise compression has shrinked its file size by 20GB. That's gonna do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.